I've written it in my book journal. That means this is really happening. Hi, welcome, come on in. So, this is a Stephen King book. It is the first Stephen King book I am ever going to read. It is the first Stephen King book I've read. I have seen the adaptation of The Shawshank Redemption, but I'm not counting that because I haven't actually read the short story it's based on. It's today the 11th of October. So it's like 2 weeks out from Halloween, and I think I should be finished that book by then. I mean, it is 700 pages, and I get through a book in about 4 days, but those books are generally about 300, 400 pages long. Let's go. This is the biggest book I think I've ever held in my hand. It is, how many pages is this? 734. I'm excited. So, what is this chunk about? It's about a guy called Jake who lives in Lisbon Falls in Maine, which I believe is a very popular setting for Stephen King. Is he from Maine? Let me just look that up. So Stephen King was born in Maine. That might be why he sets all his books there. So this is about Jake, who lives in Lisbon Falls in Maine, and he is a high school English teacher, and then he finds like a portal somewhere in the school where he goes back in time to 1960, and he is given the task to prevent the assassination of JFK. Somewhere along the line he meets Lee Harvey Oswald, who is the guy who assassinated JFK. So I get the feeling that this is going to be kind of a more sci-fi book, alternate history, alternate reality, alternate timeline book, which is also something that I have never really read. The reason I haven't read a lot of Stephen King books is because I know he does a lot of gore and he does a lot of horror. So stuff like Pet Sematary is definitely not my kind of jam. Stuff like Misery is not my kind of jam, where she takes a mallet to his legs and breaks both his ankles. No, thank you, ma'am. So this seems like a very good place for me to start, in that, as far as I'm aware, touch as wood, there is no gore. There is no... Oh god, is there going to be like a assassination? I mean, obviously... Is he going to assassinate him anyway? This is going to be a journey. So I started this last night, and I am very pleased to tell you that right now I am on page 2. So all I can tell you so far is that this guy Jake doesn't really cry a lot. I cannot associate with that right now. I mean, look at what's happening around us, Jake. How could you not cry at this? So hi, you joined me on my lunch break. I am currently on page 94, which isn't great because I wanted to get 100 pages done yesterday. But so far, I'm getting really into the story and I'm actually really starting to enjoy it. However, something has just happened that very rarely happens in a book before. Let me read you out the line. Let me find it. I finished my root beer in 3 long swallows, and as I did, a cramp tightened in my bowels. In novels, characters rarely have to go potty, but in real life, mental stress often provokes a physical reaction. I don't think I've ever read a book before where a character has had to use the bathroom. I like this. Good work, Stephen. I like this. don't do this all the time, but sometimes reading while you're walking can make it a little bit of a shorter journey home. Also, I'm way too into the story to stop now, and I was not expecting that to happen within 114 pages. Like, I just came back from the gym, hence the workout clothes, and the whole time I was stopped thinking about what was Jake doing and what was he gonna do next and what is gonna happen when I go back to the book. And it turns out actually not really much has happened since I got back to the book. He's gotten rid of his 2011 money and his 2011 phone, just in case people think he's like a witch or something. I don't know if he's gonna stay for good this time, or if he's gonna make another journey back to 2011 and then go back again to kind of reset. Because every time you go back to present day, it resets, so all of the damage that you've done isn't there the next time you go back down the portal. This is good. This is much better than I was kind of expecting it to be. So I last checked in on Monday, and it is now Friday. I'm not very good at vlogging. You are about to discover that with very, very stark evidence. I am a good bit through. Where am I? 352. I'm motoring pretty way through the book. What is kind of concerning me is if this was a normal book that I read, with the normal length of books that I read, I'd be done by now. Except that no, I still have another entire book left to read. I mean, I'd be complaining a lot more if I wasn't enjoying it, but oh my god, I am really enjoying this book. Where are we at the moment? Jake is now George. In 1960, he can't be Jake Epping. I'm guessing because he hasn't been born. Is that how that makes sense? I don't know how Al did it. When he went back, did he have like a whole different persona or identity, or was he just still Al? I don't get it. So Jake isn't Jake. When he goes back to 1960, he's George Amberson. He has just gotten a job as a full-time English teacher in a high school in Jody in Texas, which I think is a real town. So he's there for at least a year. We're in 1961 at the moment, and he's kind of keeping Lee Harvey Oswald in the back of his head. Like, he's still in the you get kind of updates as to where Lee Harvey Oswald would be at the moment. Like, is he still in Russia? Has he been discharged from the army? Is he back in the US? Is he now living in, I can't remember what state north of Texas he was living in, but it wasn't Texas. So he has also just met a woman called Sadie, who is a divorcee. They are in the very, very early stages of a relationship, and Sadie is very inexperienced, and that is kind of coming through a lot in the book. And there's a whole lot of taboo of, oh, these are two teachers getting together. What's going to happen if the kids find us? Which I think is hilarious, because that is literally how my parents met. They were teachers in the same school. And if they hadn't met, I would not be here telling you about this book. I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually really enjoying it more than I was expecting to. I don't think it's going to be a 5-star book, purely because I'm not as hooked as maybe I should be. But it's going to be a very strong 4. It might even be a 4.5. But I am enjoying it a lot more than I was expecting to. I even messaged the friend of mine who gave me this book and said to her, I'm going to give you this back because I'm not going to read it. And then 2 days later, I picked it up. I think I have a pretty free weekend. I want to be at least by page 500. Considering how I'm on page 350 by now, is that 150 pages? That sounds pretty doable. So it is Saturday afternoon. It is about 2:45. And I know that Justine from I Should Read That is hosting the Off the Gridathon or Off Gridathon for this weekend. So I am going to put my phone away for a good part of the afternoon and get as much of the book done as I can. Right now, I am on page 364, and the goal is to be at 500 by Sunday evening. That seems pretty doable. It is only 140 or so pages, and I think I can get that read in that time if I put my stuff away and just get reading. Welcome to the culmination of what is possibly the world's worst reading vlog. It is Wednesday today. I am not in work. I am at home. I am off sick because I had an accident with my bike yesterday. but I am going to get this finished. I'm on page 638 and it is 734 pages long. That is definitely doable. So I've put lunch in the oven. I have all day to get this finished. I am very sure I can get 100 pages read by midnight. I mean, if I don't, I have a problem. So here's an update as to where I am in the book. I'm on the 22nd of November. We're kind of in the morning of the day. I think the last time check-in was at like 10:30 in the morning, which is roughly around the time that JFK and Jacqueline got on a plane to get from wherever they were in Texas to Dallas. Sadie's husband has come back into her life and has attacked her. Lee Harvey Oswald has left Russia with his wife and their daughter, and they now have 2 kids. One is called June and the other one is called Audrey. There's been a couple of kind of subplots that have happened throughout the book as well. Like there's a lot of how Jake is using the information that he got from Al back in 2011 to kind of screw with the odds a little bit and kind of make money from like the Kentucky Derby or from like a fight that was happening or from like the World Series. And it's kind of bets that would be very outside chances of winning. So I don't know how this isn't raising eyebrows at the moment. I think I had it in my head that because it's a Stephen King book, and because it was so big, it was going to take a lot out of me. It was going to take quite a lot of energy, quite a lot of effort to get through it. And I will admit, it's taken me 10 days to get to this. But that's not from lack of trying. Like, I'm still reading every night for half an hour before bed. I'm still reading on my lunch break. I'm still reading on my commute, except for the days that I'm not in work or the days that I have to walk because of a transport strike. So I am getting it read at every opportunity that I have. It's just that it's such a long book. It is taking me a little bit longer to get through it. Look how little I have left to read. I mean, I've already read 2 books, what I would usually read in these 630 pages. I've already read 2 books that I would usually have read in the space of 10 days. So this is kind of keeping on track with my reading speeds. Okay, I've done it. I have finished it. It is just gone 3:05 and I'm done. I really enjoyed that. I'm now kind of ready to go into the more hard-hitting Stephen King stuff, and I am very open to suggestions as to what kind of new Stephen King book I should read. It did take me 10 days to read it. And I think I was expecting to do it in maybe a week or 8. So, I mean, I didn't overgo super badly. I don't know whether to do this as super spoilery or spoiler free. So I think I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. Really liked the character of Sadie. I really liked her. I liked her kind of drive, and she has quite a lot of confidence before the attack from her ex-husband happens. She has quite a lot of confidence in herself. And I really enjoyed that aspect of her personality. I really, really liked the romance between Jake and Sadie, or George and Sadie. I think I got swept up in the last 100 or so pages because it was so energetic and there was something happening on every single page. And I really, really liked how it discusses the kind of butterfly effect and just going back in time and doing one quite large thing can have huge implications on the present timeline that we're in right now, because Jake comes back from 1963 and the world is basically a cesspit. It's not the kind of world that he has left at all. He has basically been written out of his own story. There are people he knows really well who don't recognize him. And there is so many important aspects of history that haven't happened at all because things didn't happen that way, or people weren't there at the time, or people who could have been influential for it weren't in the area. But it was interesting to see there were some things that were still relevant, like Martin Luther King had still been assassinated. There was a cult in Johnstown where a load of people took their own lives, having been brainwashed into thinking that that was the salvation that they were looking for. Seeing those, it was kind of the worst parts of history. The worst parts of our history are the ones that were repeated, and the best parts of it, so like the civil rights movement, didn't happen at all. Definitely a good start with my relationship with Stephen King. Definitely going to look out for more Stephen King books. So that brings to the end my first book of Stephen King's and this reading vlog. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.